just like that, Together We Rise podcast. We're back again. Familiar faces. The first podcast were all these faces.
Yeah. Yes.
So
let's go.
Got better.
Got bigger, got better.
We finally got more things to talk about.
Yeah. We studied.
We did some stuff.
This is a special podcast. As we've introduced these handsome young gentlemen before, pillars of the company, Rise Group, Chris Lopez, Chris Strains, James Quintero, and Ty Fam, all huge parts of the company. And I'm not even going to go into what your titles are because I want you guys to all explain this and give the world a little better understanding on what Rise Group is, where it came from, how this even started, how we're all sitting here, because it starts from the beginning of you guys. That's how I got here, is somehow, some way, a higher power, whatever you believe in, brought each one of you guys together, and then ultimately I got here and everybody else that's a part of the company.
Yeah, man.
So from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, you two met how, where did that come from? Let's start there, because I think that's what brought everybody else kind of together.
You want to go, dude?
I mean, I tell the story all the time. I mean,
Every night to my kids.
Every night to my kids. Everyone
Nano. This is what it's like.
Well, lately it was Nano's ESPN's reporting on Nano's injury. He fell off the bed. Doesn't know if he's going to be playing tomorrow. So
Score 17 and can't show up to the next game, bro.
So, yeah, he's at 98%.
Who is he?
Yeah, I mean, I would say we met playing Filipino basketball rec league. Like, I mean, that's where we met.
Which one?
Through mutual friends. It started with the one in Pittsburgh, I think, right? Here, how serendipitous.
Serendipitous. Pittsburgh High.
Here we are.
We got merged together through CJ.
And Mo.
CJ Copes and Mo, yes.
Yeah.
And what would you say? Well, we probably played for like a few seasons and just kind of hung out.
What was your first thoughts of each other?
Yeah, was it
Off the bat?
were you guys
I'm
guarding each
trying to
other?
remember the first time I saw him.
I mean,
He was honestly, bro, he was warming up. He was warming up like running lines. You were like running down
Was he
the
the only guy running
He was like
down?
gassers. Yeah, bro, you were warming up. You were warming up. Not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. He was like running back and forth, like just warming up, right? And then I think
Did he have headband on?
no headband, bro. No headband.
Arm,
But
like wristbands.
no.
young, high and tight haircut.
Yeah.
You know, and
Fresh out the military?
Yeah,
No.
not out the
that was
military,
like
but no,
31.
he was like,
Yeah.
bro, we were still like relatively, we were
Young
James'
oldish.
age.
Yeah.
We were James' age, yeah. So we met at the same age you
What
guys
year
are.
was this, you think?
This is 2000.
11.
No,
10?
probably 12 maybe.
Yeah.
11, 12, somewhere around there.
So you're roughly
Yeah.
like 30.
Yeah. So we're like, I'm about to be 30, I think.
Yeah,
and
Prime.
yeah, so like the thing is
Athletic prime at
We
Pittsburgh
just-
Rec League.
Pittsburgh Rec League, bro.
Filipino guy.
Prime.
You have no idea how good we were.
You know what, though, bro? We were prime time.
Our name was Primetime.
Stop.
I swear to God.
And you guys were on the same team? Or are you playing
We were
against
on the
each
same
other?
team.
So you just kind of showed up with your bags. You're like,
I ran lines. I
I'm
just,
telling
that
he
guy-
was not
that guy-
ran lines. He was like warming up. But the thing is none of us really knew each other. Like our
Yeah.
boys collectively put this team together. We all showed up like on a Sunday.
Right.
And so we're kind of like, is that guy on my team? Is he not on my
Right,
team?
of course.
And obviously everyone starts showing up. So you're like, hey, we're all playing together. Like we're not practicing. We're not doing any of that stuff. It's like, dude, you're Asian. I'm Asian. We have an Asian league. Jump in.
right.
Who's the tallest? You're playing center.
Yeah, that's pretty much was it. So we just played for multiple seasons, like over and over and over again. And we started to have like a cool bond because what I loved about that particular team and just those people is they're very family style. Like it didn't matter. Like some of them had kids and some of them, were just like out there doing like odd jobs here and there. But hang out every Sunday, eat together, hang out at someone's house. Like it was a family style scenario. Definitely missed those days. But he and I had connected really just like more professionally when someone in his network was moving from North Carolina. And they were like, yo, I got this business idea. And he's been in ventures all throughout like your career, right? Like just on the side, right?
Just on the side. I mean, whatever the side hustle is that can make you money, was always interested in it and just involved.
Yeah, took some L's, got some money, but at the time, like I was like, who is this guy? Like this guy's got a Viper. He got like all these other cars.
I wasn't
Viper?
crazy.
No, bro, Viper, S-Class.
I said Lamborghini, but it was a Viper.
Bro,
That's
no, I
what
mean,
the
like,
car
you
was.
could tell, like, this dude was doing well in life,
That's
right?
the
You're
sickest
like,
car
and,
that
he had,
That's-
at that time, he only had Kingston and Talia.
Yeah.
Right. So Kingston and Toledo were still super young, and I was like, okay, this dude's of substance, right? He's probably the oldest person on the team essentially, and he's just, he was just generous and come over to my house, let's do this. Christine's there, like just a good family, right? But you're clearly get to see like, okay, this guy makes money. At that time, you were doing what?
Yeah, what were you doing then?
At that time, I was in the car business.
Business, right?
Yeah.
Director?
In finance. Yeah,
Director of finance,
yeah.
right? From multiple dealerships out here.
Yeah.
And clearly doing well. So I was, at that time, bro, I didn't have a job.
I was gonna say, what were you doing?
Bro, nothing. Bro, absolutely
waiting for
nothing, bro.
the Filipino rec league
So
to
I'm coming
open up.
off like this Europe trip, and I spent like 30 days in Europe with my boy and like some of his family, and it totally changed my perspective of like trading your time for work and how us as the United States or Americans truly live their life and what you really want to do with your life. I'm coming off working retail, working at Best Buy, you know the feeling. I'm like, hey, I'm about to take this trip like 9 months out. They're like, oh, cool, take 30 days off. Month comes around, hey, bro, you can't take 30 days off. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you approved this. So what did I do? I scammed. I said, you know what, though? I'm stressed. So I pulled the stress card, FMLA for 90 days. I was like, you can't touch me. Right?
Was
so
30
I
to
was
90,
gone,
Best
bro.
Buy.
I was gone, right? So 30 days out, went to Europe, came back. I was like, dude, I can't go back. So I had like 60 days left or so. So the last week, I had I was in Tahoe, and I'm sitting there. I'm supposed to go back on Monday. And I'm like, dude, I'm not going back. Like, I'm not going back. Call him up and said, hey, dude, I'm emailing you my 2 weeks.
This is prior to
This is prior.
to the
This
rec
is like
league.
during the time of the rec league or prior to the rec league, right?
Like,
So like I'm coming off like that feeling, right? Couple months out, like I short sold my house, I got crushed in the market, tried to hang on to it, short sold my house, ended up moving in with a girlfriend at the time. Like had bought a condo, so we were renovating that. So it was like my first time like actually helping with the renovation. So I'm like coming off like this whole like I don't have a job. I'm trying to figure my life out.
my house,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like at 28 years old, 29 years old, and I'm like trying to find my way.
right.
Started playing basketball. I was like in everything. I was playing basketball like once a week, softball like twice a week. I was in like 2 volleyball leagues. So I was like, for some reason, I was trying to rehab like
Revisiting
my
high school
entire
days.
like I'm like
career.
going like so. I'm like waking up at like 1 p.m. I'm living off of like EDD and like the savings. Like I'm totally just low maintenance, but I'm having a great time, right? But you start to like get dumb. I wasn't doing anything to enhance my mind. I wasn't reading. I wasn't taking a class. Nothing. I was just like, I'd wake up, watch TV, go to bed at like 5 p.m. I got like super into the Illuminati, dude. It was like really weird. Like just so many things.
You're sitting on the couch.
It was, bro, it was bad, right? It was really bad. And the funny thing is meeting him kind of like, you start seeing, you're sizing yourself up, right? As some of my boys actually that got heavy in law enforcement around that time, or they were coming up on like the 3 to 4 years, and they're stepping up and they're making a lot of money. You started to see like, okay, I'm falling behind the pack, 100%, right? I know I'm talented. Like I haven't even tried to go get a job. EDD's kind of like coming up on the last 6 months. Like I'm stopped renewing.
Nerve-wracking time.
We've been there, right?
Yes, been
So
there.
I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna dust everything off and go find it. But meeting him there's an inspiration level to it, right? You're around a guy that's clocking good money.
Yeah.
Again, my friends too, but I was able to manipulate, how you got to hustle and get some money.
Right.
So the cool thing is I got a job and I started put myself out there on LinkedIn, got a job, started working with First American Title. And I just was like back in like the real estate thing because I always really loved real estate, but I was doing very high level sales for them, which was national hazard disclosures.
High level.
Right, super high level, right? But
Was it $99 back then?
so like I'm like damn, okay, this is a dope ass job. And back then you're still able to kind of paper up agents and host them and stuff like that. So I was having a great time. This guy comes along and goes, hey, bro, come to dinner with me. And I'm like, for what? He's like, no, bro, my boy's in from North Carolina. He got this business idea. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, whatever, let's go. So we go to dinner, and it just sounds like this greatest idea
At that time.
at the time, bro.
all do.
I don't know if we got sold or bit by a fucking bug, but
It's a tech bug. I call it a tech bug.
He calls it a tech
Everyone
bug.
gets bit.
So he had like a
this tech
startup
bug.
idea.
I just think everyone in life gets bit well, in this generation,
Of course.
by this tech bug.
Well, you see the
Once in your life,
yeah.
you talk equity, you talk partnership, you talk going public. That's sexy.
Oh man, it's
100%.
over. I mean, we know,
Especially in this area.
We know so many
After
people
MLM,
that got
it's
hit.
tech bug.
Right.
Yeah. So we were like, oh, dude, it's on. It
Yeah.
was on. We were like, okay, cool. I can work there and here. I got a flexible schedule. I work from home. Like
Yeah.
he's like, oh, we'll make it happen. I'll throw money at it.
I'd be Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
Literally sitting on people's couches, and we're doing like our pro formas, and we're like,
Yeah.
we can make this much money.
Yeah.
I can scale it out. Like we're literally thinking that. We are thinking that's going to be our future. And tech bug, entrepreneur bug, whatever it is, like you're selling yourself, one, because you have to believe in it, right?
course.
And if you sell yourself, it's a very dangerous spot in my opinion, right? You can either sell yourself on the wrong thing and it could be like super fugazi, or you're selling yourself on like your capabilities. At that time, we're selling ourselves on the wrong thing. I'm not capable of doing this. You know, it's hard to look in the mirror and go, am I capable of doing this? Am I studied enough?
What was
do I have a
what was
mentor?
the idea behind the company?
It was honestly, it was just there's a lot of companies actually out there that do it now, but at that time it wasn't like revolutionary, but it was just a marketing company with a huge element of, online services for your website. And it's the same thing that a lot of companies even do now. I mean, we employ, origamists to host our stuff, to do our, it's the same thing. It's still to this day, a lot of people do web services. A lot of people do content management and, back end SEO, all that other stuff that we pay people to do. That's what we were trying to do. And we were not on the cutting edge, but we were just trying to be that. We weren't that. We had good foresight, I think. We had good concept. And we hired some really high level talent. I mean, we had like crazy talent, like Parisa, Chloe. We had some girl from France that used to do work in France, all through the fashion industry.
Electronic arts,
That is
Chanel,
amazing talent to this day, probably, and she just kills the game. And somehow we just got her to come on our team. Like,
Was it self-funded?
totally self-funded.
Did
Like,
you guys close any client? Did you have any client?
and that's what's crazy is we did. Like we actually were able to go out and sell
sold
it. We sold it. We recruited people. Like we had a team. At one point we were busting the seams. We had like 20 people. We had an office in Berkeley, dude. Beautiful 4,000 square foot office in Berkeley.
Viper parked out front.
Bro, wild, bro.
Kyle Davis was with us too at the time.
Kyle was
Yeah.
helping us out at one time. Like, it was crazy, like to the point where we felt like we were there. We had a grand opening. People were like, oh yeah, I'll give you business. It was just one of those things where you learned a lot and you learned how to fail.
So what was the death of it then?
The death of is what a lot of situations are, in my opinion, is you have the people, you have the talent, you have the concept, but there's a mismanagement of either just basically all of your either funds or resources more than anything. That you're just not managing the talent properly. You can't execute. You can come through on some stuff, but you can't come through on others. So there's gaps in your business, right?
This really sounds like the Lakers.
Yeah, like you have this whole entire talented team. If someone knew what they were doing, came in and took the team we
So
had,
that was your chance to say, okay, go find a CEO and say, here's equity of the company. We'll take less. And
probably would have been way better to do that. I mean, we were sitting down with some really talented people because at that time, you didn't have very many things popping off, and we were attractive to a certain extent. But in the back of our minds, I guarantee you, we probably knew we were failing. Like, but you're like I said, you're selling yourself.
Yeah, you're like,
you just kind of have me sold. I felt like you guys were pretty
I
close.
thought-
I feel like you were like one step.
Bro,
in
I
front.
can't even tell you.
said like sounds like
that saved it.
Yo,
Bringing
you
that
walked
guy that's
in.
like-
Yeah, you walked into our office. I mean, we're next to this dope ass architectural firm, right? And we're down the street from like Chez Panisse, cheese board. We're in North Berkeley. Like we look and feel the part by far. Like we 100% look at. And the thing is like in the background, you're like, man, you're not paying attention to the nasty shit that's going on. Like I'm losing money, I'm burning through money, I have to start firing people, I have to start doing these things, right? And this is just like a pretty short span. And all of a sudden
It's
it's
like a week. This is like all in a week.
Yo, bro, it was bad. All of a sudden, it's
Cut the
like,
ribbon.
what are we gonna do? It's like we're icing it. We're done. So we're sneaking our furniture out the back door, and the owner of the building is the architectural firm. So we're renting from him. So he's kind of like, dude, what are you guys doing? And we're like, oh no, we're just switching up our furniture. bro, bad. Like, and it just got to a
No
point.
Dance on
furniture,
top
more
of the
zen
Viper.
like,
It
no
was-
furniture.
It was bad, bro. And it got to a point where they locked us out.
Yeah. And we left our IMAX in there.
Bro, we were
All
like, we
11
got to
of
get
them.
these IMAX back. Yeah, we got to get these IMAX back. So we ended up kind of getting out of there, like just bad, bruised. And I think like the last day we handed over our keys and like left whatever we didn't want there. And then I think he and I were like, dude, we're like done. Like don't have a job again. Like he's going back to
the car
good old
business.
car
Right.
dealership,
Yeah.
which
Old
is
Faithful.
amazing, right?
At least I got
Been
this.
back a couple times. Yeah.
And the thing is like, we just ended up, I think we went to Ruth Chris that day and just ate.
Yeah. A sad meal.
Yeah.
Like,
Sad,
bro.
dope meal.
Yeah. Sad dope meal.
We didn't talk for like 6 months, bro. Not that we were mad at each other. It was just like,
Defeated. You're beat.
You're
It's like you
defeated.
lose the
You're
championship.
defeated. Yeah.
You're
No,
just
you're
like,
done. Yeah.
that's my brother, but man, I gotta go just sulk in Turks and Caicos.
Yeah, bro.
For,
Yeah.
for a month.
like, didn't talk. And, you know, obviously you're losing face. You know, you tried and you failed.
I mean, we seen each other at the basketball games.
Oh,
We
you're
went back to
still
playing
yeah,
the
but we're
league.
still,
we go
yeah,
back
we're
to
still
playing
playing.
the league now.
We went
Yeah.
back. We're in Oakland now.
you
You know,
had to
we're
go
playing
back where it
Dream
started.
League. You know,
Okay.
we graduated Dream League, which is actually a lot more talented people in there.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it was just it sucked. It really did suck, and he had to go back. He lost. You lost. I lost some money. You lost. You're
I
crazy.
mean, it was definitely a great sum of money, good enough to where it still stings to the
And the worst part, he got audited that year.
lose some money, lose some money. I mean, you know, you're young, naive. You're using, you know, someone's uncle's, you know, who's a tax preparer. He does your taxes, and you just get all this money back. You're just like, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna bat an eye or turn to the next page or see what he did. So yeah, I mean, we went out of business. IRS tax bill, 6-figure. You're just like, man, you just got defeated.
Oh,
you
yeah.
had your,
You're down.
you're
getting
down.
kicked. Right.
This is like probably, yeah, I mean, a worse kick. So, I mean, you get that. You're just like, you know what? It is what it is, right? You'll soak it. You'll soak on it, and you'll just figure a way to get out, you know? And that's where, you know, you start thinking, how do I get creative? I got these cars. I'm going to go and get them refinanced, get money out the cars. Not a lot of people know you can do that, right? They're sold stock. I mean, just find a way to just pay the IRS. Like, to me, it's like, what's two people you worry about the most? I mean, one of them definitely is the IRS. Other one is just, I mean, I don't know. If you got problems with people, then, you know, something else. But IRS is the one people I just knew that, like, you shouldn't mess with. So just went through that process, paid them, got back in the car business, just worked my way up just to pay off the debt that you incur in that process, right? So kind of just one of those things where it sucked, but it was a great learning lesson.
Okay, so the startup happens, kind of falls apart, right? You guys are
No, blew up, bro.
blew up. Okay,
Yeah,
Blew
no,
up,
I was
bro.
trying to
Yeah,
do-
you're sneaking out the back
trying to
door,
do-
bro, so
okay.
it's not good.
Yeah, we blew up, bro.
Fell to shambles.
Yeah.
You guys are heads are down in the dirt. You guys come back to the Dream League and you guys reconvene.
We reconnect, bro, and then he's back there. I ended up getting into cancer diagnostic sales and like medical device sales, right? Just like a guy that I had met like 3 years before. I just put out on LinkedIn. Again, I'm like 6 months just chilling again.
Right.
Like I've retired for like the third time in my life. And I'm just like, man, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, let's just get back out there, put it like a post on LinkedIn. And I swear, like this dude hits me up like that. He goes, hey man, I remember you. Like I met you somewhere. Like I don't remember where, but I think I might have something for you. So I go in for an interview, bro, crushed the interview, right? I love interviewing because I feel like it's opportunity, and I found this really creative way to tell the story of my gaps in of employment. Most people feel like that's a downside.
Yeah.
So if anybody's out there that has gaps in their employment, use it to your advantage because there's a lot of lifestyle, I would say there's a lot of wisdom you can find in that gaps that you can actually use it to your advantage trying to get a job, right? And that's what I did. And got the job, and I just did really well in that industry. Like it paid really well. It was a struggle though. Like for the first 90 days, like I was like on other job postings, like thinking like I got to get out of this. Dude, I was texting him. I was like, I don't know what the fuck I am doing here. Like I don't know. I don't have a a life science background. I'm in an arena that I should not be in. A lot of these people are older than me in here. They got me talking to people on the East Coast. I'm struggling, right? And I hate struggling, right? I hate not knowing what I'm doing. But it was truly the moment where I was like, you know what? Let's take a turn and lean into this. and take time to learn the product, and let's see what really happens. And it's just kind of like that defining moment, I feel, especially with being an entrepreneur, is like, you want to start this idea, maybe you get a logo, maybe you get a website, maybe you get a client or two, and then you're kind of like, oh, I can do this. And then you're like, oh, I really have to do this, right? And then you have to go, I have to start learning my craft, and I have to put effort into that. You know, we watched you do it for a few months, not 6 months, but probably 5 or 6 months or so.
Yeah.
Before you even got your license, you were here every day. You know, we talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah.
You know, you were here every day trying to like listen to phone calls. You're studying. You're just being around it. Obviously, you come from the industry, family wise, but you really put time in and you hit the ground running. Right. You know, I didn't realize that was the case. You know, he went back to an industry that he knew he can do it right now in his sleep. You know, you want any kind of financing situation, like it's just done. He knows who to call, how to do it. I mean, the dude can just, what do you call it? Like just papering a deal, boxing a deal, whatever you call it.
Boxing a deal, like to me,
it's just easy.
Not rocket science, you know, got good at it and just, hey, if anything ever happens,
it's a skill set now.
It's a skill set,
Right.
Yeah.
right?
It's like a trade.
It is. It is a trade for him,
Yeah.
and it's hard for people in that industry to master that. So, I had to do that, and throughout those years, we just kind of we always wanted to do something again together. I mean, we were like, man, let's do what we were doing, like fire extinguishers, servicing businesses. We thought looking at
Ideas came up.
You know,
So you guys having like meetings,
Bro,
like, where you guys
yes,
are like, we almost were
so
there.
the cool
we
thing
were
is-
at the top, like, you know, right below
you're
the sun,
chasing
like-
it because you get
And
your
you're like-
late, you get reconditioned, right? So
Yeah.
you go back, you bumped a bruise, you go back, you go make a bunch of money, and you're like, I got some money to play with, I got time, right? And you're back in that,
Right.
You're rehabbed. He's always in front of different people at the dealership because he's got guys. So he's looking at credit, he's looking at their bank statements. He's like, oh, you make hella money. What do you do?
Yeah.
You do this.
Yeah.
What do you do? He's like, hey, have you thought about doing this? Have you thought about doing this?
Yeah.
Bro,
Potential investors
one of the
first.
craziest deals we almost did is, you know, Kevin Sturdivant. I was following him like years ago before he even blew up with his own brokerage when he was with Keller. I was on him since like 2016. And he posted this photo or this video one time with one of his closings, and it was a company called Bungo Box. And Bungo Box was this logistics company where you basically rented all these plastic containers. They would drop them off when you're about to move. You put the plastic containers in there. Or you put your stuff in plastic containers. They move it. You move it. They move it for you, and then you open up so you don't have any cardboard boxes. So it's like environmentally friendly. You rent the service out. And he was like, "Hey, this is a good service." Blah blah blah. And it was in Orange County. And I was like, "Hey, bro, we should look into this."
Buying was cheap too at the time.
Buying, I think, was like $50K. It wasn't even that bad. So we were like, bro, we got real serious. So we started talking to the owner of the company. They're based out of Florida, and they had a bunch of East Coast stuff. They're trying to break in the West Coast. We're like, dude, it's a great market, home sales. We're like on this track of like everything's talking about real estate still. We're like,
Right.
but we're like thinking how we can be ancillary, right? So we're like, damn, let's buy it, bro. So we go to Orange County. We link up with the people, and you could just start seeing like, oh yeah, I don't know, it's not the best deal. Prior to going to Orange County, I was in Vancouver for work, so I ended up linking with the bigger guy in Vancouver, and I did like a little ride along with him. And he was just like looking at his business, and like, his dude's stressed out. He's got his like data on the board in his office, and I'm like, oh man, this is not the business to buy into. We got reconfirmed in Orange County, and it got to a point where the guy was like, hey, you guys buying in or not?
Yeah, you peel back the curtain already.
And we were like, I think we're not going to do it. So it was actually the one deal that we collectively said we're not going to do out the gate. And that was like the first time I was like, okay, cool. We're kind of thinking more better. We're growing in our mindset. We're learning how to say no, right? It might look good at first, but we learned how to say no. And then we just started a couple other things. And then we just kept working until farmers, right?
I mean, the other idea that came up, I mean, obviously I'm sitting at the dealership and across from a guy who owns an insurance agency. And long story short, you know, getting him qualified in that process, you know, you go see what he made. I was like, man, I hit him up because, you know, when I see stuff like that, I'm the guy that thinks up a million ideas. I hit him up. I'm like, hey, bro, let's look at this opportunity. He's like, man, here we go again, you know, another idea. So, you know, for me, it's coming up with the ideas are easy, but he's the guy that takes it, creates the blueprint, the architect of how we're going to be doing it, you know. So for me, it's the easiest job. It's the easy job. So to me, it's like pairing with someone like him was like, we were exact opposite, but we were a good fit.
Right.
Age, culture, who we are, our beliefs, those alignments were definitely there. And it's just one of those things where you're just like, okay, I would say that's probably the hardest part of getting into any relationship or partnership is making sure that like you can exist past that honeymoon, you know. And we did. I mean, we failed together, and usually when you fail, you kind of just like, hey, have a great life, bro.
Right.
I've seen you enough for the last 6 months trying to build this, burning the midnight oil. I've just spent too much time with you in life. So like I said, I mean, it's just one of those things where you start, you know, like I was telling James, like you start with the MLM bug. Everyone get bit by that. Then once in your life, you get that tech bug bit. You'll get bitten by that tech bug. You're just like, bro, I'm going to be a billionaire. Right. Then once you go through that, you have this entrepreneurial mindset now, right? Because you've owned a business.
You're conditioned that way.
Yeah,
now.
you know. And you own this business. You go through the rest of your life going, okay, do I try this again? For me, it was like, man, I got bit. Like, you know, I have to try this again. You know, this sucks.
Yeah.
Working a 9 to 5 for a boss is great. Checks are great, but you got bit by this bug. The bar's been set.
Right.
So until you get back there, you're constantly trying to find a way to get back there. Fuck insurance. Let's go. You know what I mean?
So
Fire extinguishers. Let's go. Man, I've seen what this lady made taking care of folks, you know, at these care homes. You good? I'm good. Let's go take some courses.
We
Let's
have
go.
invested in our time more than anything. A lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of his money too, but shout out to Christine. Jesus.
No, but you know, that's the risk. No, but to me, it's like that's that
a
risk I
risk.
was willing to take. I was like,
Yeah.
bro, you're the brains.
yeah.
If I come up with the ideas, I gotta at least back it up. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
So it only felt fair
Right.
that the responsibility he had, I had to have my responsibilities, right? So I think, you know, that's what made a lot of it work. You know, he's like, hey, bro, like, let's go. I'm like, okay, cool. I know what to do. I know my marching orders.
And I think with everything we've tried out, right? Like we've had a couple partners, you know, in some of those little small ventures I mean, you're kind of filtering out the people you want to work with or you want to spend a lot of your time with and grow with, and you start learning how to like dwindle that criteria down. You know, clearly, you know, we're partners, and that's not by no mistake in my opinion, because what he said is like the honeymoon phase is very real. You know, honeymoon phase is one of those things where, like I said, everything's super exciting. It could be 6 months, it could be maybe 2 years, who knows what it is, right? But then you start learning everyone, and you start saying like, do I really want to invest my time? You might even be second guessing yourself in some aspects. You might be trying to figure out like, do I even really want to be part of a partnership? And it's difficult. So I think if there's anything like we learn, at least I learned how to kind of have those check boxes when you're looking at potential partnerships before they even start. At least I have now, and I know we have a good fit. But yeah, I mean, like, shoot, we went right to insurance.
So you go to insurance.
Right to insurance, bro.
Right. So car industry, selling cars, you're still doing
Still medical device sales. Yep.
And then you talk to the guy about making a lot of money in the insurance game. So you guys are like, okay, let's go get our insurance license.
Bro, this motherfucker calls me, and I'm sitting at my desk, and it was just a great job. This guy calls me, bro, and he's like, hey, bro, this dude works for Allstate, bro, killing the game. And I'm like, oh, man, dude.
Here we go.
And at that time, I was like, okay, everything in life is really smooth. Like, life is good, you know.
Paycheck every 2 weeks.
Eat, great paycheck, great time. You know, we have, you know, other investments that are paying great dividends. He and I were like, dude, why are we even looking at this? And so I'm like, okay, whatever. So I lied to my boss. I'm like, hey, bro, I'm sick. Go get my insurance. Go take a course for like 4 days, dude. Get my. I threw my back out. I said, no one ever argues when you say you threw. No, bro. No one ever argues when you say you threw your back out because you can't move, right? So I'm like, I threw my back out, dude. And they're like, that's fine, dude. No worries. So I take my insurance license, dude. Take my course, get my insurance license. So I started going through it, and I'm like a metric kind of person. So I'm like, there's ways to make a lot of money here. So I call him, and I'm like, hey, dude, it's doable. So he's like, I'm like, but I don't. It's just we don't know yet, right?
No, that's his version of the
I
story.
love that he goes, he says, I get my license, and then I start thinking about the numbers.
No.
Like, now
That's
it's
his
doable.
version, bro. He goes to the course. He has lunch. My phone rings. So I'm like, it's one of two things. This is the worst idea ever, or this
doable.
might work.
Yeah.
He'll hit you. So I'm like, man, I hope it works. Hey, what's up? You know, he goes, man,
Man.
bro.
Like
He goes,
gonna
bro.
kill it.
I'm
We
just
can
like,
do it.
after the first man and a couple bros,
You're like, okay,
it's
it's good.
going good. He goes, there's potential to make
Potential.
beep, 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 a lot of money in this, right? I'm like, yes.
My idea worked.
It is that. But what they don't tell you is
It takes 90 years.
It takes it's like it's a savings account.
Yeah.
It's a savings. It
It
might
is.
be a muni bond, like. But the thing is like it is real. It is
is
very
real. It
very
is real.
real. And you know, we're fast forwarding to that time. We got an insurance agency. We bought this building that we're in right now, and we just housed it. And
So this is the first.
this is our
farmer's
first layer of
layer
like
where you're
a beginning of like
Yeah.
what Rise Group could be.
Right.
We started the name Rise Group because we needed a tax shelter. We wanted a tax shelter, and you know, Francisco was like, "Hey, bro, if you guys start this out, you know, it'll be better for you guys because the amount of income you guys are already making W-2. You need to shelter yourself in some areas, buy some property under it, maybe start up a little side hustle, do whatever it was. We're like, hey, well, we got insurance, so we kind of like bought this building. We already had it.
Where did the name Rise Group come from?
Dude, what's funny is it's from, I always wanted to go, and it's still on. I actually had some friends that go this year. It's Rise Fest. So they did Rise Fest in Las Vegas.
Which is what?
Which is, you know, like the lanterns, like like you go to Thailand, you on the beach and you light them up. So there's a whole entire festival that I would love for us all to go to, and you just go there, and you know they have like it's like a festival, music festival. They have food there, and you're just in the desert, super dark, and you know twilight. You light the lanterns, and everyone just they all go up. So it's an entire festival for like a day that I think is pretty sick. He's like, what should we name the company? And I'm like, I don't know, dude. Like, he's thinking all these crazy names, and I'm
Yeah.
like, those are like different names
Not
that we shouldn't.
appropriate.
So I go, hey, bro, how do you feel about like Rise? And he was like, oh, I like it.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm buying into it. And I was like, well, we want to seem bigger than we are. Group? Because that sounds big, right?
Rise Group.
So so that's what we did. We started that out. And even when we bought this building, we bought it from Mike, I don't know
Mike's
his last
Auto
name.
Body.
Mike's Auto Body, owner of Mike's Auto Body. I forget Mike's last
Yeah.
name. But even when we bought this building, bro, we just got hella no's. Like, no, you guys are tripping. You guys are too young. We didn't know about business lending. We didn't know about buying commercial property. For us, it was like we bought real estate residential, but we've never bought commercial. And like everyone was just like kind of laughing at us. Like,
We came to lease it.
yeah.
And the guy was like, hey, what about, you guys thought about buying it? We're like, no, but
No, but what's that
we'll
look
think
like?
about it now, right? The idea got ingrained in you. And after that, we were just on a madman's mission to find financing. And you figure how, you try to find a way. And just like no's. I mean, I know for a fact it was 10 no's. 10 no's.
It was a lot. It was a lot, bro.
Yeah.
And we're just like, I'm like, no way, dude. But we discovered how anyone that's new, that is, you know, for like our audience too, right? Like you come across some business owners that want to buy something, they just don't know how yet. Like I was on the phone earlier today talking with someone that is looking at buying a building in Brentwood, and they're like, how did you do it? You know, how can I do this? I'm like, well, the situation that you're putting yourself in, you're making it so it's harder for you. You know, you're only like, you know, you're sole prop, you're not established as an entity, like you're not depositing things, so you're still trying to hide it. Like you have to play a certain game to make it easier for yourself. We were kind of playing that game, but we still weren't coached properly. We didn't have a mentor in that.
Nope.
So we ended up buying this building, put farmers in here, and that was like our first layer of like what Rise Group, how it started. We obviously weren't thinking.
So you just came up with the name Rise Group to
tax
to help
shelter.
tax shelter.
Had nothing to do with anything.
I never knew that, by the way.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
This is my first time hearing
had nothing to do with like what we wanted to do, but everything starts to fall in line, right? So he's still at the dealership. I had quit my job, and I'm here in this building. It's like what 6,000 square feet at the time,
Big, freezing.
by
He's
myself,
just like,
bro. Like selling
sure you're
insurance.
home?
He's sending over clients from the dealership,
Yeah.
like peppering it over there.
You guys thought you were killing
Again, but then it kind of
from the dealership. I got another one. It's like, oh,
that's what it was though, and we were.
Right, so that's what I want to
Yo,
know.
our
too.
first year, we were killing it, bro.
So you're getting clients buying cars, and you're like, "Hey, look, I can insure you too."
I
That
know a
was the
friend-
game plan.
Yeah, I know a
That's-
friend that sells
That does
insurance.
insurance, and it's, but it's both your guys.
You know,
They-
you kinda like,
you're-
okay,
You're
cool.
the only one that had the license.
I'm the catch, bro. No,
Did you-
he
did
had
you
his
get your-
license.
You had your insurance license?
Yeah, he had his
Okay, okay,
license.
okay.
We both were licensed, but I was the catch, and it was working out. It was like
That's
easy.
just like not what's it called?
So easy money, right?
Yeah.
And at that time, we were just making money. We're like, this is the real thing. Like, we got the building, we look cool, but it's like, I mean, the entire setup downstairs, exactly how it was set up with just me inside it.
Yeah.
Just in the middle with one light.
Me inside
The white
it,
desk.
in my office by myself,
Just
and I was
chilling.
just like, I mean, I'd be here till like 8, 9 p.m. He'd come through like on his breaks or after work
Yeah.
and just hang out,
Like the
right?
Matrix.
And it was like, that was our first layer. And we were like, damn, okay, what's another element that we're seeing? Like, people are asking us, because when you're an insurance agent, you know, even he said it last night. He was like, the one thing about insurance is that you have that like consistent client
Right.
relationship.
Right.
And mortgage or real estate, you have to really keep in touch with them, you know? And we ended up kind of like discovering and creating good relationships, because we built a book from scratch where people are asking us, hey, do you know a lender? Hey, do you know a real estate agent? Do you know a contractor? Do you know a pool guy? Because you're talking to these people about their asset. You know, you're trying to find, hey, what's your lifestyle like? And that's how we really truly built our book of insurances, trying to find out how to protect you, because it is risk analysis. And we really bought into that. And it got to a point where, you know, we were like, why don't we just think about construction? How can we get into construction?
And that's where, like I said again, people were talking to us about real estate, mortgage and lending,
We're handing off deals, bro.
construction, and people were just on the phone was like, "How are you guys so well versed with lending and real estate?" Because we were investors,
Yeah,
we
you've
were
done
passionate
it.
about
Yeah.
it. Then you know, sign, real estate and lending.
fucking real
We're
estate.
like, "Fuck, construction,
Yeah.
let's do it."
Yeah.
Keep slapping you in the face. You're like,
So,
yeah, no,
dude,
I'm gonna do something.
So we partnered,
Close to
got
it.
our GC license, right? Partnered with a guy, got our GC license, and it was just like this is the guy that did like his pool.
Yeah.
He was like, cool, I'll go get the license. So we're just like done. Like, this is super easy.
Yeah.
Get a GC license, do a couple jobs. Like, we do some stuff in LA, we do some stuff like out here, and we're like, man, that's another layer, right? So as we're doing that, we're still not in real estate. We're still not in that. But he had the idea. He was like, bro, we should get into real estate. And I was like, oh, man, I don't know. I don't really want to do that. I don't want that
study.
responsibility. It's like, it's one of those things like, I'll go get the license. We're like, okay, cool. He's like, well, what if we partner with someone? Because we started to learn that, like, you have to have a team.
Right.
We started to learn, like, you have to be able to leverage people so they can also leverage you. But if you do it together, it's going to be done faster, probably done a lot better. There's more hands, right? And insert James.
So, and that kind of expedites the
But
process.
before
right?
that, you guys were already doing lending, though.
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
Or you
Before
were-
that,
We started because it was like the pandemic, right? Like, the pandemic obviously exposed. We had rent out an office to Gina
Yeah.
Butson, and
yeah, Gina was a friend, like someone I just met
Yeah.
randomly at the dealership a couple years back. And we just stayed in touch, and you know, when I left the dealership, met her back at Rotary, met her at the Rotary Club, and we just reconnected. She's like, "I'm in lending now." I'm
Okay.
like, "Cool." I'm in insurance. We're a perfect match.
So you're finding these like little.
You have to,
he's
right?
amazing at that,
umbrella.
bro.
Yeah, you got to connect those dots,
Yeah.
right? So we connected. Long story short,
And
you
was the-
know, she was able to open up a branch of hers where she was at in
Yeah.
lending here,
Right.
with us. And I'm just like, man, lending. Fuck,
So
I
that's
can
when
do
it
that.
sparked. It wasn't like, okay, we have insurance. Then you guys said, okay,
We're general contractor.
general contractor.
Yeah.
Then you're like, whoa, we need lending. You had a conversation.
No,
with
I
somebody,
just
like,
seen
oh,
Gina, right? I'm like an opportunist. I'm
Right.
like, man, Gina, what do you think about us opening up a brokerage together? She's like, fuck, I'm down. Let's
Right.
do this. You know, I'm like, fuck, I gotta go sell him now. Right? I was like, bro.
It's
you
a
know,
pandemic. By the way.
lending-
It's just 2020.
Yeah.
This is
Okay, okay.
early
lending, bro,
pandemic
and
days.
I was like, you know, you got. I was like, bro, didn't you do that in the past? He had prior experience of, you know, being in lending himself.
Right.
And he's always told me. Then again, you know, serendipitous. Bro, we should have gotten into real estate. We should have gotten real estate, right? He goes, man, did lending, have a little bit of experience in like we should have been in real estate and lending day zero, not even one. So we took a really big, huge U-turn, and lending, we started that part. I was like, man, if we're gonna get lending, might as well get real estate.
Yeah.
He's like, bro, you know, he's mad. He's like, I'm the one who's gotta build all this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, well,
That's where
let's do
James
real
comes in.
estate.
That's
So,
exactly
you know,
where James comes in.
And you know, he thought about it. He goes, well, if I were to do that, you know, I would only partner with a couple people. And James was definitely a name in that pool. I didn't know of James at that time. Met him, a couple times on a deal here and there, but never really met of him.
So from there, you said, okay, real estate. You had the person you met in lending. You're like, okay,
Yeah, then
now it's like we need to do real estate.
We got to go
You
find
said
that
there's
person.
only one or a couple people that I would use. How did you know of James?
So at that time, I think before, like at that time, like we had, I'm trying to remember if Lopez Drive was before that. Yeah, probably
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was. Well,
It
yeah.
was during the
that-
pandemic, right?
The way that I saw it was me and Kel were doing the deal on Lopez Drive in Antioch.
Okay.
Probate deal.
Probate deal. We posted it on our social media, and actually Lopez reached out to Kel like, "Hey, I might have a guy that might be interested in this."
Yep.
It was our listing, and it was a fucking, excuse my language, it was just.
He wouldn't even go in the
trashed.
house, bro.
Dude, I went in the we went there with
You
hazmat
would.
suits.
He
dude.
would not go
so
in the
we
house,
This
bro.
is the first time I met Mike Nelson and Lopez. I knew of him, but I didn't really know him very
Right.
well. So we all met at this house. We have hazmat suits. Like legit, like
it was
full, like
Yeah,
Monsters Inc. fucking hazmat suits.
I think I have the photos. We'll have Quentin maybe throw the photo up
Bro,
if we can.
we walk into this house. There's trash like everywhere, and you're like the ceiling's like this close to your head because you're like walking on trash.
Yeah, there's rats
a border.
everywhere.
So I opened the electrical panel, I think it was, and there was rats in there. I said, I'm out. You guys have fun. I'm gonna be outside. I'll be outside. You guys have
You wouldn't even go
fun.
in, bro.
I was
wouldn't
I was
even
like
go in.
10 steps into the house. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm out. Got out of my fucking hazmat suit. Long story short, we ended up there was just like 50 offers on that house. We ended up making the deal work with Mike. He bought the house.
Okay.
So that was kind of like the first time we were all introduced, and then we all started kind of like hanging out after
Right,
that.
right.
And it was cool
I was
because
like-
everyone ate off that deal,
Yeah.
right? You guys got obviously I think you double-ended, obviously.
double-ended the
And then
deal.
our boy Mike flipped it, did great on the project.
Mm-hmm.
The the owner's daughter ended up assuming a lot of the funds, and then they had bought another house, and then we actually flipped that house for her. So like it was really cool. That's where you started to see
Mm-hmm.
kind of like the vision of like how you're sharing or not sharing the client, but you're not eating off the client, but essentially you're making money off of like one client in a good way, and your margins are getting, there's opportunity here to be able to kind of do it and do it right.
Right.
And that was our first, I don't want to say transaction because I really wasn't in it, but it was our first interaction professionally.
And I was with Windermere at the time, and I was a solo agent, and that kind of like I was interested. I was kind of interested in them because to me it seemed like they understood how to flip houses, and that's what I kind of wanted to get into. I was like, these guys are already doing it. I want to spend more time with them because they understand this, how to do it. So I started hanging around them more.
Right.
I was a solo agent, and I was fine though. I had no interest in I didn't really have an interest in starting a team, starting a company or anything like that. I just want to learn from them on how to flip a house.
Right. For your own knowledge.
For my own knowledge, and I just wanted to work with more investors because one of my mentors in the business early on was a probate specialist, and he worked with a lot of investors. I'm like, this is a sick part of the business, especially as a real estate agent. If you partner with investors, then which is reoccurring because you help them procure the house, and then when they flip it, you can help them sell the house, and that's what I wanted to do. So I was like, these guys get it. I want to spend more time with them. I think Lopez invited me to an event at Agave, which is now Molly Lounge.
Agave?
Agave Lounge.
Old high school.
Yeah, turntable
Turntable parties.
Shout out
right
Agave. And
That's crazy.
so I pull up. I think it was an NAREP event.
I think it was an RF event.
It was a NAREP
Yeah.
event, and I pull up. I pull up just because Lopez invited me. I was like, sure, I'll show up. Didn't really care. I was kind of late, I think maybe.
We had a table there
Yeah,
representing farmers.
they had a table. I was like, I show up for people when they invite me to shit. I'll show up.
Yeah,
You
you're
know
good
what I
about
mean?
that. You're good about
And so I show up. And it's funny because I met Ty that day. I'm pretty sure I met you that day.
Yeah.
Officially.
Officially.
Well, you met him at you were there too at the
Yeah,
at Lopez Drive, but yeah,
we're
you
at
guys
Lopez Drive, but
officially had probably spent some time.
Probably
Yeah.
cross paths more with Akel
Yeah.
than you. Yeah.
So then I met Ty that day, and Ty doesn't waste any fucking time. Ty doesn't waste time. It's funny because I know him now, but back then he was just like, yeah, man, Lopez is telling me, let's start this real estate thing. Let's do it. You're the guy. Let's go. And I'm like, I don't know, think about it. Like, I didn't have it on my mind. Like, I was like, I'm fine where I'm at. I'm still learning. I'm like, I'm like 5 years in the business. And I was fine. And I was just, and then I was thinking about it. I don't know. I can't really remember like what made me switch.
Yeah, what was that turning moment where you're like, all right, let's do
I don't know.
this?
I think I just kept, I don't know.
We kept in contact,
Yeah.
right?
Either we wore him
kinda
down
planted
or-
the seed, right? I mean, met him at the
Oh,
event.
and then I went to the office.
Yeah.
I went to the office,
right,
and I
yeah.
think I ruined their lending partnership with Gina. Because I went in there and I was talking to her. She went to Salesian, so we had a bond. I was like, yeah, I'm thinking about maybe coming over. And she was like, yeah, these guys are great, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, and she's like fucking killing it in lending during COVID
she
because
was
it's
drowning
so many
Hill out,
She's
dude.
just like,
Oh, right. That's
killing
usually
it,
drowning
right?
Hill
there for
And I'm
any
like, dude, like I was like basically talked her out of it, I think.
On
I
accident.
don't know. I think I did. We can ask Gina if I talked her out of it. But like, I was like, yeah, I do real estate, and I was telling her about like just how I appreciate the lenders because they're just like behind a desk. They don't really get to interact. They don't get to do anything like super fun and like glamorous. They're just behind the desk, like just boom, putting in numbers. I'm like, good for you, but for me, it's like I get to see the smile on people's faces when I hand them the keys.
She's like, I'm gonna be a realtor.
relationships,
And she
she's
became
like,
a realtor.
stop. And
She became a realtor. And
She's
she's
like one of the
killing
top
it in
realtors.
Pittsburgh.
She's
One of the top realtors in Pittsburgh.
She's
That's
killing it, bro.
awesome. That's actually awesome. That's awesome.
I feel like I do. I think I do that.
Changing lives.
I do that to people. So that was the end of their lending. She left. She went and killed it in lending, and then we just continue the conversation. We continue the conversation of starting something, and I'm like, I don't know. I felt I caught the bug, caught the vibe, caught the entrepreneurial spirit. Like I've always been an entrepreneur, but I don't know. I just kind of like it started getting in my head. I don't really remember, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we met at the event, and I was just like, man, you're the dude. Let's go. Like, I mean, Chris has always spoke highly of you. He's like, bro, he's got it together. I mean, well spoken. He's definitely that dude. If we're gonna build a business that's long term, we got to build it through him. I was like, fuck, let's go. Let's make this happen. I mean, he's reached out to you, so at that event, you're just like, man, like, what's up? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I didn't really want to be honest, because it felt like a lot of responsibility.
It is a lot.
I'm like, I don't know how to manage people. I mean, I understand real estate. I know real estate. I know how to inspire and motivate people. I just fucking turned a lender into a real estate agent, so I know that like
I know I got it.
I know I can like mentor people and inspire people, but like managing people when it comes to like sales and stuff, I wasn't sure. But we kept the conversation going, and then there was this one conversation that we had where they brought in Mike Bardalis because he made Mike Bardalis and then Chris Strange. And Mike,
So these are names that were brought up.
So let me on that part. So I got my real estate license. So I'm like, okay, we talked to James. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm gonna go get my real estate license too. So fast forward a year later.
So one thing I just want to hit on is every single thing that you guys want to do, which made me buy in, something that makes me buy into it, is that you will 100% and you will go get your license in whatever you are going to be talking about.
This guy has
professionally.
his insurance license, life insurance license. He's got his.
It's crazy to me.
He's got
It's-
his.
but
What
it's
do you
the
got? Like
sickest thing.
series
6 and 63.
Series 6 and 63 license. He's got his real estate license and an MLS. Like the dude is licensed up.
Unreal. Keep going. Sorry.
Class
That's
A, B, and C driver's license.
Cars, motorhomes,
Bro, yeah,
you know.
100%. Like he's a test taker,
man,
bro.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
I
Keep
even
going,
got my
sorry.
boating license. I do too. I was so bored when I caught COVID. I was in the
Yeah, you
hospital.
do.
I was like,
I do
man,
too.
got my boating license too.
Do you have your
so-
motorcycle's license?
No.
Oh, wow.
That's too dangerous.
Okay, keep going. Sorry. I just like
Yeah,
it's
so
just,
no,
it's
no.
something I admire.
only if it makes money.
I admire that a
I get a
lot.
real estate license. I'm like, bro, where should we go with this license? Let's go hang this license somewhere. Let's go killing real estate now,
Right.
right?
Because I was still kind of on the fence.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was on a fence.
100%.
So in that process, we met, a while back, Chris and Bardalis, cool guys. He met them, hit it off. I was like, man, I met these dudes. They're downtown in real estate. Man, they're gonna give us hella insurance policies. Let's go.
Right.
I'm like, yeah.
Man, we got one, man.
Yeah. So got that, Mike at that time, was partners with Chris. He left to go to Radius, work as an executive on building out, the real estate arm. And I seen that post. I hit Mike up. We sat down. Me and Chris sat down with Mike, had lunch. I was like, man, let's go. Like, let's roll. Let's get James on board. Let's get him on the hook. Let's go, right? Literally like the day or two, and we're like, James, bro, this is the thing that we want to do. We found a brokerage. Trying to explain on the phone, not a lot of things made sense. So we had a meeting. it was supposed to be Chris, I, and James to go kind of, this platform, and
Yeah, it was
Chris
supposed to be a
walks in.
meeting. It was supposed to be a meeting. For
What
the-
was told to you though, bro?
Yeah,
That's what I want to know.
yeah,
Like, how
before-
they get
before-
you here?
Before we go there, hold on. Okay.
Yeah,
So
go ahead.
So it was supposed to be a meeting to talk about the Radius platform and
Yeah,
like that.
that's
So
it.
then Bardalis walks
That's not
in.
what the meeting I thought.
That's what I.
Okay, so Bardalis walks in and he's with Chris Strange.
Are
and,
you
like,
working with Bardalis at this point?
They used to be. They used to partner. They used to be partners
no.
at. They ran a team at
So
Compass
you were
together.
at Compass at this point.
They ran a team at Compass. Mike and Chris apparently split, and Mike went to go work for Radius Agent Realty.
Okay.
So he came in to pitch them and me on joining
Using Radius
as,
as the
a
brokerage.
brokerage, new business, right? New brokerage. So I'm listening to it. I'm like, it sounds cool, blah, blah, blah. We can white label our stuff. It's, per file basis, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, cool. But I'm still like, in my mind, I'm like, fuck, how am I going to do this? I've never managed people. Like,
Right.
I don't really, like, there was some, like, I want to build a brand and stuff, but I don't know how I'm going to, it was making me nervous to like
Super
manage
green in that
You late,
area,
dude?
so
You
you're
late?
Yeah.
to manage people. So walks in Chris Strange. And somehow the conversation went from selling us to selling us. And they're like, you guys can just work together. Like Bardalis was just like, well, why don't you guys just work together? And I was like, light bulb went off. I'm like, he managed a team before.
Did you guys know what that?
No, bro.
No.
When you
No.
came in, I was like, "Oh, what's up, Chris?"
No.
And I'm thinking,
you
like,
You
came
guys have
in.
already met before.
No,
Yeah, you-
So
met,
we've met before. We've done a deal together.
Bro.
Great referring agent over here.
We did deal together.
Exchange some value.
Yeah, we had met like a few years back.
Okay.
With a mutual friend now, right?
With an insurance.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, what was told to you? How'd they get you
Okay,
to
so
come?
the history of so when I got into real estate, like I did a bajillion years back in retail and all that, and so I jumped into real estate. Wanted to just know there was a glass ceiling, can't make any more income and all
Tell your
that.
story real quick.
Okay, so worked at Best Buy for a billion years, and so the worked grand open stores and loss prevention and all that stuff, and all around the Bay Area. Worked like at 10 different stores in like 9 years, and did my thing over there, but felt like this isn't it, dude. Like I'm just like, what else am I
That's what I
gonna
felt.
do? Like just you hit that glass ceiling and. You work so hard every year just to make that 1% increase, or you cap out and that's it.
Shout out to Best Buy bringing you, and
Bro,
Kyle.
Dave,
Kyle,
Kyle,
Dave,
Kyle,
Pete.
Baltazar,
Say,
dude.
Vic now coming.
Vic,
Well,
yeah.
actually, me and Lopez were on a cruise together. We didn't even know each other. So
even know it.
yeah.
Serendipitous.
He was that guy, like the party,
Yeah.
the fool.
Cool guy. He's a
great
cool
time.
Best Buy guy. Going to Europe every 3 weeks.
I wish.
Okay, so you're at Best Buy.
So I'm Best Buy, and then we're going through rounds of layoffs, and we're going through they called what are they called, like Project Trumpet,
was
Project
terrible.
Flute, all these instruments, and then and so it came time where they had to lay off an assistant manager at certain
Project
smaller
Trombone.
volume stores. Yeah, trombone. And so there was like 4 of us managers at the same time, and like we were all had the same tenure. We all scored the same on like it was like. It's basically drawing straws of who
Flip a
gets up.
coin.
I raised my hand first. I'm like, just take me. I'm out.
What a guy! You are that guy, dude.
Kamikaze,
You are
dude.
the guy.
Kamikaze, but that was,
out.
it was a very selfish
that guy that falls
kamikaze.
on
the
sword.
Yeah, so that was done. I was burnt and all that. So I told my GM, like, just pick me. She's like, "You sure?" Yes, just let me go. I'll take 6 months severance package and figure out my
Figure it
life.
out, dude.
I just bought a house, a few months before that. I was like, I can do this. Yeah, I can sell homes. Like I worked with a Remax agent to buy my home, and super cool guy, Matt Brady, and he's not in the business anymore, but cool guy. I was like, I can do this. I'm a cool guy.
Yeah.
I can go show homes and make some money, and so that was
That's what
all
cool
I
guys
knew
do.
about real estate was I had a cool agent that opened the door for me, and that was it. That's all I knew. So I jumped into real estate, got my license. All I knew was I just needed out. I just needed something to focus
Absolutely.
What were you doing for money in the meantime?
on. I was on
say?
unemployment. Yes. I was on unemployment, and so at that point, my kids were. Like Andrew was in high school. Quinn was probably 2010, so he's probably in like 5th grade, 4th grade, showing
Oil
up
funnel.
in oil funnel commercials.
great
Look it up on YouTube.
Definitely. Put the link in, Quentin. Put the
link
link
in,
in. Drop the link.
And and I had 4 kids at that time, right? So we had 3 in elementary school. Or
Like, how old
one.
were you at the time? With 4 kids?
31, 32.
31 years old, transitioning to a different career
Yeah,
with
different
4
career.
kids.
Yeah, no idea what
Nuts.
credit is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nuts.
So we're over here trying to build
Yeah.
a dumb marketing internet
Yeah. Web development.
web development company.
So anyway, so fast forward, I interviewed with different brokerages and all that, and so I wound up meeting a gentleman named Michael Bardalis and at a NAREP event.
Yep.
The Marriott in Oakland.
That's the place to
And,
meet everybody. Yeah, that's where we met Jose, Al.
That's
Yeah.
the place.
Not rep is where it's at.
That's where it happens. Huh?
Yeah.
And so he invited me to that event because he saw like a post on Facebook that I got my license and all that. I never knew the guy before, but he grew up in the same circle as my wife. And so we wound up went to the NARP event. All I wanted was somebody just to all I knew is I needed to attach myself to somebody to show me the ropes for just a few months so I could figure it out. Because I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I was going to sales meetings at Zip Realty, Century 21, just to kind of figure it out, just kind of put myself into offices just so I can get the lingo down and all that. And so, but me and Mike hit it off. He's like, well, look, I'm not looking for anybody, but I'll let you hang out. You can help me out with a couple of these deals I got going on. Cool. All right. So started hanging out with him, and then we wound up just building a partnership and just kind of growing a little bit by little. So it was just me and him for years. We wound up getting an office in Pittsburgh, downtown Pittsburgh, the office where we met at. And so we wound up just rent out an office. 3 months later, we started recruiting. We decided to build a partnership. We became Next Home East Bay Group because there's only 2 of us, but group sounded
It's
cool.
It's bigger, dude. It is bigger. It's a
Yeah.
fact.
If it's 2, it's a group.
That's right.
Just so you know.
Exactly. That's what we said.
There's
It's
2.
like it sticks. We're not lying.
Yeah.
We're not lying.
I was in a rap
Yeah.
group.
Yep.
It was 2 of us.
Yeah.
So it's a group.
So we wound up taking on more and more square footage there, more and more overhead. We wound up just taking over the whole 7,000 square foot building, and started decking it out and started recruiting. So then we went from Next Home. Then we started doing well with 4 or 5 agents, and then we graduated to Compass came talking to us, and then we joined Compass back in 2018, I think, and then 2018. And so we quickly grew to the largest Compass team in the Bay Area. So we had about 20 agents.
Nice.
And then by the end, we were the largest team in the East Bay. And so quickly grew. But COVID hit, and we wound up losing half of our agents. Kind of got nervous of the current market that was in, and the agents that weren't doing too much just quickly got out of the business. So we lost half of our agents. All of a sudden, the market just turned off for a couple months, right? And so Michael and I were kind of looking at each other. We're like, well, I think this is where we part ways. This is just the Titanic, everybody,
Play the
the
music
band
and
is playing
then-
the music, and
Yeah.
so we just kind of saw the writing on the wall, and we did 7 or 8 years together. And so it's it's time for us to kind of figure some stuff out. And then he connected with Radius.
Yeah.
And that's when we already met each other at that point.
Yeah.
And so we weren't working together for 4 or 5 months. We were occasionally running each other at the office just because we just still had that obligation of the 7,000 square foot office with just me in it. So I know the feeling.
feeling,
There's
bro.
so much
It's a feeling,
serendipity in
bro. It comes full
this.
circle.
This is crazy. So I'll be all by myself with a laptop in a cold 7,000 square foot building.
Yeah, you're not gonna turn the heater on, bro.
And so I was like, you know what? Because the team was just dwindling down. I was just kind of letting them know, hey, look, you can hang with me if you want. Not cool. I just thought, and so I was going to do my own thing. So I was already in my mindset. I'm just going to be me, maybe an agent or 2, just kind of supporting staff and just kind of reach out my career and just go that way, just as a solo agent. And we went to a networking event. And he's like, hey, so me and Michael went to a networking event in Napa. We wound up going together because we hadn't talked in a few months, and so we just you want to ride? Cool, yeah. So we just hopped in the car, and so he's like, well, what are you planning on doing? I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do my thing. He's like, well,
Is that Zach Cooper's event?
Zach Cooper's event, yeah. So we're out there shooting some guns and drinking some wine, and so we wound up. He's like on the way home. He's like, look, Chris and Ty, Chris and Ty, they're cool guys. They're planning on doing build a team in Pittsburgh. They think you might be a good fit. So already,
He already said it, bro. He was selling.
he was already selling.
I was
So
selling.
that's why I had to ask. Did you guys even know I was coming?
No, bro.
So,
No.
but I was thinking, I was like, well, okay. And he's this guy, James Quintero. I was like, yeah, I think I know that guy. I was like, I know him on Instagram. So I looked at him, I was like, okay, I know this guy, dude.
Yeah, he's a good-looking dude. Yeah.
I just had an Instagram presence. That's all.
And so yeah, so I was like, okay, I'll sit down with them. I was like, they're cool guys. They got that entrepreneurial spirit, you know. And
Yeah.
so like that's something that I was like, but I'm really not looking forward to do it. But then so I had a couple days to think about it in my head before we connected. But I definitely thought that you guys were in the loop in that. So, but I
No,
already came in
man.
with the thought process like, okay, if this rolls okay, I'm down to like figure it out
Yeah.
with you guys, right?
Yeah.
And so. And then let me see if James is cool. So we started doing that, and so then that's when fast forward we hopped into that conference room back in 2020,
20,
Yeah.
yeah.
like late
December,
2020, late 2020.
November,
Late
December.
2020.
November, late
You
20.
guys had the soda can at the end of that, sworn in blood, and you guys all just
It's pretty much what it was, dude.
Yeah.
we're doing this.
Yeah.
Well, I
kinda
think
worked.
it was
Kinda worked.
it was kind of like James and I kind of spoke a lot within that like couple days, right? Just kind of figuring out because I definitely like I could tell he didn't really want to do it, you know, and he was like, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it still, right? And so we were just kind of
Two
talking
guys
through it,
not
just
wanting to
kinda-
do it.
So you guys had two guys, half kind of wanted to do it, half didn't want to do it, made one whole guy. that
Exactly.
wanted to do
But
it.
that's what a partnership is, right?
Right, yeah.
So
In certain culture, it's called arranged marriages.
It was an arranged
it was
marriage.
definitely an arranged marriage.
And then we hung out a couple times. We're like, all right, well, let's just do it. And were you guys you guys started, so after Gina, was
Yeah,
Bree
we
already?
had
Yeah.
already had, the person we had contracted out pretty much to help us launch the mortgage side, and it's all has worked out, especially now to like this moment to where, insert like Trans United and Sunday your mom.
Insert Blaine.
I mean, all of that, bro.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
it was just like Blaine comes in and doesn't disrupt, but kind of shifts some furniture around a little
Right.
bit, and it just our team started to really form. And you could probably speak a lot about from like your lens of like how we
Looked
to you, right?
Well, yeah. So I guess this is where
Insert
I
Blaine.
insert Blaine.
Yeah.
I am in LA, right? Fast forward, I'm in LA, music industry, tour managing, creating with a bunch of different artists, big artists, right? Have a lot of connections. My mom, my whole life, has been in real estate and lending.
Right.
My dad has been in construction. So I'm sitting there, touring, having fun, only really have to worry about myself. Making good money and having the time of my life, living a life, that,
rock star lifestyle.
yeah, 1% of people live.
Yeah.
Living 30 lives in 1 year.
Yeah.
So doing all that, end up getting my fiance now, Victoria, pregnant. So Jackson is conceived. He's in the womb, and the pandemic hits. I'm still doing shows. I'm like, okay, I can support my family doing this still. It's all good. Boom, pandemic hits, and shows are canceled. And that was where the majority, being out on the road for months at a time, is where I would get paid the most, right? And I made all of my money. Besides like those things I would do, studio sessions, writer, credits, or doing one-off shows. But when we'd go on the road for a month at a time is when I would make a chunk of my money.
Yeah.
And pandemic shuts down everything. So this is coinciding when you guys are all starting,
Yeah.
basically.
I think we've
Rise
been running
Group.
for a little bit
So
together.
I'm sitting there, and I've been friends with James since I was, 20,
Probably.
19,
Well,
21.
I would say we met in probably high school, but we didn't really like
We started hanging out often,
yeah, like
probably like
20,
2021,
yeah, 2021.
right? Going out downtown Walnut
because
Creek.
you worked for Google.
I worked for Google.
Yeah, and I was at San Jose State,
You're
so-
at San Jose State, right? And then me and him, like, I would after work, I'd go hang out with James at his apartment at San Jose State.
Yep.
And I'm working at Google. And this is before, like, I was like back and forth from LA. Like, I'd go live down there for a year, come back here, work at Google, and then I was working at Google, and they opened up my project in Venice Beach. And I had moved back, and I was like, oh, this is my opportunity to get back in the music scene, entertainment scene, but also have that paycheck from Google. So I was like, hey, transfer me down there. I'll start the Google Online Shopping Express with the team down there, since I've already been doing it for 6 months, and they're brand new. Like, insert me in and let me help build that. Go down there, and then I'm there doing that for like another 6 months, and that's when like the touring started to take off like full time. Swayze's like, hey, you're coming on the road with me. Cam Meekins is like, you're coming on the road with me, and just touring full time.
Yep.
COVID happens. This is 2020. Fast forward, and I'm calling James. I'm having a baby, and I'm like, look, I've been following him this whole time. We're boys. Anytime I come home, we're hanging out. Me, him, Kel, other boys that are out here, and I called James, and I said, hey, like I'm having a kid. Like I had to move back. There's no shows. How do I? What should I do? Like I see that you're doing well for yourself. I want to give my family like a life that I can provide and give them anything and everything they want. Like you seem like you're doing well. And I saw Kel, he was doing well too. So I called both of these guys, and James is like, look, gets on FaceTime, and I remember you in the background.
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
He's in his office, and then he's like, look, dude, like starting our team, like get your license, look at the gym, look at the office space, like, dude, you're gonna be a killer. Like if you get your license, you'll be a killer.
Yeah.
And I'm reaching out, and my whole life, my mom is like, be a real estate agent, because she killed it in real estate.
Yeah.
She's like, you would be an amazing real estate agent. And like I just like would never buy into it, because like, nah, like I'm gonna make it in rapping. Like I'm not giving up my dream. And then like I was working on the ships with my dad, and then one day, me and Victoria were sitting there, my fiance, we're just like, what do we got to do? Like, you don't want to do this for the rest of your life. You don't want to get a hip replacement like your dad. You don't, shout out to my dad working his ass off my whole life. But it's just like, how do you make that comfortable life where you have time to be with the kids and you're not waking up at 4 a.m. every morning unless you want to, And she's like, get your real estate license. Like, my mom would always tell my brother, like, dude, he can sell ice to an Eskimo. Like I'm sorry, Aaron, like you're the smart brains, but this guy is the people person who will get people to, jump off a cliff not knowing what you're diving into.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, you guys are feeding me up, building me up. So like James, I'm like, okay, do you mind if I'm gonna get my license and I'm gonna hang my license with you guys, but do you mind if I tag along and
And people ask me that all the time, and they don't really realize that there's nothing unless you're with me like the whole entire day, there's nothing that I can really do to like for you to tag along. Like people ask me that all the time. The difference with Blaine is that he was already, in his mind, he was already a real estate agent.
In his mind, he was.
And he started bringing deals, and he's like, hey, I got these people that want to transact. I don't have my license yet. Like, let's do the transaction together, and I'll just follow you through.
As long as I get to learn from you.
Yeah.
As long as I get to learn and learn how it works, because these people want...
You're already bringing value.
Yeah, these people want to sell their house or buy a house with me
right now.
because I'm online posting like I know about real estate. Like I'm like, okay, transform, put the costume on, I go and buy all my Nike shirts. I'm golfing every day. I'm like, I'm a dad. Like, dude, this guy is respectable.
Yeah.
This guy is a straight shooter. Like, I want to sell a house to him. So family and friends, now I'm sitting there submerging myself. When I want to do something, like I'm all in. Like there's no plan B. So I called James. I'm like, hey, like let me just tag along with you. I got some people on the line that like want to sell their homes as well. Just let me follow, because I learn the best by doing, right? I could read as much as I want, but I retain it when I see it happening. And I know I have to do the studying to pass the stupid test. But I know once I get that test, like everybody has told me, real estate has nothing to do with that test, And anything that you want to refer to that test, you could just look up, So it's like, it's how do you, keep a deal moving forward at all times. So I learned that while I'm studying for 6 months, and I'd come to this office every day, 5 a.m., work out with you guys, come up here before this was all built out, sit here, study, study, go down. Okay, James, like here, you're doing this deal, let me sit there and listen to how it negotiate. And then I'd finally bring things to the table, different deals, and I'd be like, hey, this is how I think we should negotiate. But I would let him
people like always ask that, and they don't like, Blaine was here. People always ask that, like, what do you want me to do? You want to come to my open house with me and like just sit there? Like, what do you want to do? Unless you're here on the, daily basis, I can't like let you tag along when I go to a listing, presentation. And that's like a buyer consultation.
But I mean, this last week, or even the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about like how we're going to build our business plan for 2023. We're talking about, what's our identity, like even like who our niche is, right? We're reading the book Traction together, and we're focusing really on just trying to tighten up of just like our identity and who we want. Who's our clientele? Is our clientele real estate agents and loan officers, or is our clientele actual clients? Who are we trying to service as a team and as a brand? And you come up a lot of that in that conversation. We're talking about business planning because there's a lot of who you are from like a core values person and like how you live your life and how you approached even coming into real estate.
Right.
There's like resourcefulness, there's commitment. There's all these things that we feel are core values that are living and breathing out of the people like you. Like we have multiple people on our team that we threw on a board and we're like, what do we love about these people? What do we love? If we were to build a team again, who are we going to build it on? You hear that conversation. You build it up with Steph, you're going to build it with LeBron, you can build it with KD.
Right.
We're talking about basketball, but it's the same thing. You're building a brand, building a team that you hope is going to last and weather storms like we're in right now in this market. You're the type of person that we want. Right. Everything you're saying right now, from going on tour, making tough decisions, but also leaving your family, but also having fun, being competitive, trying to make money while also make more money.
Right.
It's all the things that we have. And I think that's kind of like who we are.
Yeah, I mean, and he was here studying, and he actually brought things to the table, and he was basically just played the part before he was even there, and people started trusting him already.
Absolutely.
Bring those deals to the table. Now he actually had a reason to be in on that buyer's consultation. Now he had a reason to be in on that
To
listing
learn those things,
presentation.
right.
You can't just come with me and
just
you have
like,
nothing. I'm like,
nothing
hey,
to
here's
do.
my,
This is my
protege or
protege
whatever.
guy,
Like,
yeah.
no, there's like, okay, it was dope because it was like, hey guys, this is James, the realtor I'm learning from. He's gonna run the deal. I'm learning from. Everybody got it.
Yeah. And they were happy to be a part of that because they knew it was a part of Blaine's, growth.
Right.
Yeah. So that really worked out. And then hit the ground. I mean, you took the test how many
I
times?
took tests 3 times.
3 times.
3 times.
3 times.
Because you liked it.
Because you
I loved
enjoyed
it.
test taking.
Just a little background on that test. First time, missed it by like 2 questions.
Yeah.
Second
on
time,
purpose, dude. Just because you love
yeah,
it.
2 or 3. Second time, did the same thing, missed it by like 2 or like 1
Yeah.
question. And then the third time I come in, they're like, "Oh, Mr. Nice Watch, like, hey, good to see you." I'm like, "This is bad."
They knew you.
The ladies at the desk knew me. I was like, I have to pass this
Yeah.
thing. Like, I can't come back here. They're gonna start, hey, what do you want? Do you want coffee? Like next time I come, I'm like, can't do that.
You like 2 sugars.
Yeah,
right?
2 sugars, 2 sugars, Blaine. Here you go. Go get them, buddy. Yeah. Like, just crying on the way out. Pass it my 3rd time, and I'm just like yelling in the middle of the street.
Yeah, that was a day.
Let's go.
That was a day. I remember
So
that.
then, during that process, Blaine's mom was actually making a move from
Arizona
to Manhattan
Orange County.
to Orange County.
County,
to, what was it?
Huntington Beach.
Huntington Beach, because she got offered a job with TransUnited.
TransUnited,
yeah.
And they were what at the time? They were just a.
No, they're their own bank.
They're their own bank, mortgage company. Also had a real
mortgage
estate
company,
side as well.
Yeah.
So they kind of coincide with like the vision that we had already.
Absolutely.
So Blaine asked me to help her with that transaction.
Yep.
So she was selling her house in Arizona,
Right.
and moving to Huntington Beach.
Yeah.
And I had during that year I was in LA a lot, so it was easy for me to, go to LA.
Right.
I had a place to stay, so I was able to go to Huntington Beach, do the transaction with her, and I learned more about her business, where she was, what she was going to be doing for this mortgage company. I'm like, oh wow, like we're trying to, get our mortgage company off the ground. We had already started it. We're really trying to get it off the ground, and that's where that connection started.
We got to pause because Chris Strange has to go see a client.
See somebody about some money.
Anything you want to say? Last words, real quick.
Oh, now you put him in the spot, huh?
Win the turkey trot 2022.
That's right.
Oh yeah, he's supposed to be winning.
Say it.
Whoever posted on Warmer yesterday the #1 medal, I'm coming for you.
Coming for you.
You don't win this thing.
Cut that clip.
In his mind, he's going to win.
I
Already
tried
won
this
it.
morning by myself in the gym.
I thought you went out there and ran the.
No, I
Yeah,
didn't.
I should have.
the course.
ran
Yeah.
I ran it at 7:58 pace.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty
And
good.
then I got off,
dude.
dude, and my calves like instantly just like.
We gotta have an ice
Glad
bath
nobody was
waiting
there
for
because
this
I
guy.
was like
I
leaning
heard
up
last
against
year's
the
winner
wall.
was like a 6:30, dude. So
I know. I feel like it's not gonna be enough. So, but I'm gonna bring it.
you're gonna do
Too
it.
competitive, dude. Well, good luck.
Thank you
Go
guys.
kill it.
Signing off.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Close the
Make
deal.
sure you take your mic off when you walk out.
Yeah.
So it's not
Yeah,
Like,
like,
God.
There you go.
But so exactly. James goes down there, helps my mom purchase her house in Huntington Beach.
Yep.
From moving from Arizona after she was, working with Tony Robbins, the mastermind company, and managing or property sales in one of those high end. Which is funny because that
It's
coincides.
more serendipitous now that I think about it, because I hadn't talked to Blaine for a while because he was doing his thing. Like it was like the type of relationship where when we saw each other, it was like,
Bro, what's
bro.
good? Yeah.
I mean,
It's me with
it would be
everybody.
long time
Yeah.
friends, but we wouldn't talk. And I don't mind those those friendships.
One
Like
of my favorite
I
friendships.
don't feel like bad when I don't
why'd
talk to
you
someone
call me?
forever.
Yeah.
I'm not
No,
like
you
that.
shouldn't. You don't create relationships like that.
But I hadn't talked to him for a while, and then Jarrell, C-Boy, moved to Arizona. And in the process of him moving to Arizona, he wanted to, get away and just kind of, do something new. He was checking out apartments. And when he went to the modern, he was talking to the leasing lady, the head leasing lady, and he's like, yeah, I'm from the Bay. And she's like, oh yeah, I'm from the Bay originally. And like, somehow music, she started,
my
she
son's a
always,
rapper,
she always,
Plug-
promotes
yeah,
Blaine.
she's
right?
always gonna put you
She
on,
always
bro.
promotes Blaine. So she's like, my son's a rapper. And he's like, and Jarrell's like, wait, who is it? And then she goes, oh, his name is Blaine, blah, blah. And he's like, that's my cousin's friend. So then she used to plug us when I went down there. They
Right?
They had an extra a unit that they would let family and friends stay at.
It was like the show. It was basically the like the showing room.
the showing unit.
Like the showing unit was
Yeah.
furnished, staged.
Yeah.
So like when you want to come in and buy one of the
get one of
apartments,
the
they have
units.
each layout staged.
Got
you know?
it. Got it.
So when I went there, she let me stay there for free.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that's what obviously like kind of connected me and Blaine again, because like, oh, I saw your mom, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. Anyways, that story.
So that happened. She moves to Huntington Beach from there because she got the opportunity to be the COO of Trans United.
Yep.
Which is now Ameritrust.
Ameritrust. Yep.
And yeah, that's just another kind of silver lining of the story of where I
Insert-
came
Well,
from.
when you
Insert
when you
Sunday.
connect when you
Insert
connected
Sunday.
when you connected, obviously Sunday, and you kind of said, "Hey, my mom does this." That was around the time where we're really kind of figuring out our whole lending scenario, right? Like
Because
where-
real estate was pretty. Real
real
estate,
estate, you guys hit the ground
Yeah,
running.
right.
Like
It was a
that was the
hot
best
market,
part, and
yeah.
that was honestly from my lens is that partnership. Like you guys have been the best partners I know for a fact. Ty and I have ever
100%.
had been able to be paired with. We've learned so much from you guys. One, just from like the business side, but also just how we can hopefully be better partners to other people, right? And you guys, we all challenge each other. And at that point in time, like you guys just like took off. And so there's pressure on our side, right? Like, we committed a certain thing to these guys. We want to try to execute as quick as possible, but also, with purpose. And that's where, Sunday and Amit like really helped us out.
Right.
We were able to go down to Orange County. Through you, we developed that relationship with them. We're now a net branch, with them and growing to the point where it's like we feel very confident where we're at in the market, as far as just like even like rates and programs and our abilities to be able to accept difficult clients,
Right.
and get them funded. But I mean, yeah, you for sure were an intricate part in our partnership. You were for sure an intricate part on how our gel, because a lot of people don't think that like, okay, you have a couple of people that are going to come in and be partners. As we're building our business and, you're going through, the people that are on your team. And like I said, we're kind of not categorizing, but we're looking at the type of people we want to build with, because we're trying to figure out how we want to come off. One, that's why I think this podcast is so cool, because we're telling our story,
Right.
but we're also trying to help everyone else that is our audience, that is our family, our friends, and our new networks coming in to identify what we actually do. And I think that to me is big. You are our DNA. You are what pushed us forward in a lot of ways, because we wouldn't know Sunday, obviously your mom, without you. James and you have a phenomenal relationship. You kill the game in real estate, but you're also like this motivational driver every time. When you walk in the office, it's totally different. You know what I mean? There's a level of competitiveness that is here.
yeah,
There's a level of
100%.
energy that's here.
Yeah.
And that is our core values. That's
Yeah.
what we're writing our core values around as guys, or not guys, but people like you, the Kyle Davis, Tish, Niab. Like there's so many people now that we are really focusing on trying to build our brand around, which I think is like our next level as a partnership,
And those names that you mentioned, the Kyles, the Tishes, and even the Christians, like something that aligned with me with them is that they tick without somebody making them tick.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was one thing
That is
that
like-
was
Yeah.
across the board.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's how championship teams are made. Like you said, I'm
is.
I'm
It's very
competitive
real.
because ex-athlete, you know, in my elder body now. But
You still stole
You
home
still,
base.
oh, and they won the softball
alumni.
yeah,
championship.
won
Yeah.
softball championship. So we're still getting rings out here. We're still putting forth the athletic energy, but it's the mindset. Like, and I love like Kyle pushes me.
Yeah.
You know, Kyle comes and challenges me.
Yeah.
Like, and that's just gonna, when someone challenges me in the appropriate way, that's positive. But it's like, okay, this is for you to win. This raises my game, right? Like, I was never one to like bash me to make me play harder. It's like, no, like, tell me that I could do better because I see this in you, you know?
Yeah.
And like Kyle challenges me in that way. And he has a different approach and look at things, and I take that into account, and it's like, okay, he's just rising me up. No pun intended.
Yeah.
You know, for me, I always ask Blaine, I was like, man, as talented as you are, the resources and network you have, you can go do your own thing.
Right.
Why don't you do it?
Because I would not want to. I am somebody that is loyal to where I saw the people that gave me the opportunity when no one saw the opportunity in me.
And I love that.
You know, so that's just who I am as a person.
Yeah.
And my potential to grow has never been like diminished. It's not like, oh no, Blaine, like this is your ceiling. It's always like, bro, the sky's the limit. If you want to do that, we're gonna back you to do it. We want you to stay here. You know, and seeing how much and hearing in this podcast how hard it was to get to where you're at, I don't want to do that.
I don't blame you.
I don't
No,
wanna
I mean,
do that.
we
I don't blame
definitely
you.
took
I
some
wanna-
wrong turns for sure that we didn't need to, but
Like,
it
I
was
want to
there.
be,
Yeah.
you know, the Triple Crown winner in college, which I felt like that's who I was, and then inserted into the Yankees. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I don't want to have to go to, you know, my beloved A's. You
Yeah,
know,
that's a
like,
tough
have
one.
to build
and
a
have to
champion.
build a championship team, and it might not never happen. You
Yeah.
know, but like I think, and it's the culture of what we have here is what makes me want to stay here forever. A new agent who I was, you know, helping recruit, bring on to the team. Hopefully, comes over, but he's thinking about it. Not going to say any names yet, but he asked me, he's like, "What's your 5-year plan?" I said, "My 5-year plan is to make Rise as big as I possibly can." He's like, "Okay." I was like, you know, most people would be like, "Oh, I want to start my own team and do that." I was like, "Yeah, I want to make it as big as I can with Rise. Like, if I have my own team, I want to do it under Rise. Like, that's my goal." He's like, "Okay, so you're not gonna like go off somewhere and like no, I don't see the value in that, and I see the value that Rise gives to me that I give to Rise is reciprocated,
Yeah.
you know." And that is what I told him, and I think it struck a chord with him. He's like, "Oh, okay, so you're not looking to just jump ship and go somewhere else." I'm like, "No, I'm committed to what I'm doing here."
I appreciate that, and I think I'm hoping like you know, we were talking before we even started this thing is like, you know, one of my goals is for our audience and our people that, you know, at least just know what we do. I mean, how do we want to be identified, right? You know, how does Blaine want to be identified? Does Blaine want to be identified as a real estate agent? You know, if someone were to ask me what my 5 or 10 year plan is, you know, how do you want to be looked at through your network? You know, I think, you know, we're always talking about how resourceful we are as a group, how we are resourceful as individuals. You know, like you called me the other day with a weird ask, like, "Hey, do you know anybody that installs water systems in a house?" And I'm like, I actually do. You
Right.
know, I have someone for you that does that, you know, and they're going to come to you like that.
Right.
You're already that person.
Yeah.
You already had, you know, leads or value you're bringing to the table transactionally before you even had a license.
Right.
You know, your mom is that person.
Right.
You know, I know Ty and James, Chris Strange, like a lot of our people that are tied to this brand are professionally real estate agents or loan officers or insurance agents, but they're also the resource, you know, and how do we want to be identified? And I think when I hear someone say like you know, I want to do it with Rise Group, and I want to do it with these guys because one, they saw the value in me before when I saw it myself, but there's also other things that we offer too, right? You know, there's a lot of entrepreneur people that ask us questions, you know, how do I get my entity started? How do I get, you know, I'm thinking about making this move. We have a lot of collective experience, and we have a lot of, I think, good knowledge to give, and I think that's like our main, and it's all through real estate. You know, we're going to be identified through real estate, but who are we really? You know, we had a cool conversation with a lot of people last night, and it was really around real estate and lending, but we can speak a totally different, you know, tongue in a lot of ways, and put people on the right path.
Yeah, and like, you know, The point of this episode was to shed some light on our story and let people know, the audience know exactly what we do, which is we do real estate. Not only do we help people out there buy and sell their homes, but we are a real estate team and brand, so we take on agents. Our purpose is that we nailed down the other day is to be an ecosystem that creates and gives opportunity.
Yep.
That's to real estate agents, that's to loan officers, and just people in our network that want to take advantage of opportunity and just take their selves and their business to the next level. We service a lot of our people, which are real estate agents and loan officers, and we want to service them in a way so that they can go out there and help more people.
Yeah.
And we do that in a way that's technology forward, super innovative. I mean, we're a different bunch. We're the new kids on the block, I would say, in many ways. There's a lot of heavy hitters in the Bay Area when it comes to real estate. We are looking at it in a different way than some of the traditional real estate brokerages and brands out here. But we're definitely those new kids on the block that are making some noise. And, you know, it gets tough sometimes building a business. You get knocked down, you get bumps and bruises. But once we go out and we talk to people and we tell them what our vision is, and show them what we're doing or tell them what we're doing, we constantly are getting that validation that they're like, oh, wow,
I think
like
so.
that's pretty, like we get that validation like, wow, you guys are doing something pretty good. You know, even at, you know, Follow Boss Con, FubCon last week, you're seeing all these people and they're on stage talking about the stuff that we're doing, and people are spinning their wheels trying to implement the same things, but they can't.
Yeah.
Just because it's not easy to implement all the things that you need.
And I think that's like, you know, what maybe part of the reason why you do want to build with us, right? You know, when you say, hey, I want to build a team and I want to do it within, you know, within our walls, right?
Right.
And I think to me that's what I want. We want to be that platform, like you're saying. We want to be able to have people come in, whether you're a real estate agent or a loan officer, use our platform to grow however, you know, deep or long you want to go,
Right.
you know, within this industry. And hopefully we're collective enough to be able to house a lot of those personalities, because they're really A-type, a lot of those personalities. And we want to just, you know, keep giving. You know, a lot of the podcasts we've had in the last few episodes, giving has just been a lot of the conversation through the entrepreneur trials of just like year over year. You know, Bobby was on here last week. He's like, bro, I just keep giving. I keep giving and keep giving and keep giving until, you know, almost either I can't or it's his, like, almost his mantra, right? And if he believes wholeheartedly in that, as long as he does that, he's going to receive, you know, more abundantly, maybe 10 times more. And he is, and he's a great testimony for that. You're the same way. You know what I mean? You're the same way. And everyone that I think will come along with us for the ride will probably build their solo business, hopefully build a team business, use us at our advantage. You know, we want to take a lot of the risk off the plate for a lot of people, and I think we are. And I'm hoping that we can just kind of recruit the proper talent and the type of culture that we want to build that's around our core values and around basically our beliefs, and then grow appropriately. We don't want to be super big, but grow.
Yeah, 100%. And just this week, I've had phone calls from people that ask me, hey, I know, you know, I need insurance for my house.
Yeah.
I got that phone call. Hey, I need a water system installed.
Yeah.
I got a phone call. Hey, I'm looking for an investment property. I got a phone call saying,
Yeah.
hey, I need to get a loan. Every single person called me because they understand now the way I promote it is like, this is what I can provide for
Yeah.
you. This is how I can help you. If you ask me, I'll set you up with the right person that has the experience or that is knowledgeable to guide you. You know, and I think that's a place, that's what Rise Group is. It's that we give guidance to everybody in whatever they want, whether it's sports, like you're saying, like, you know, Nano goes out and drops
17, bro.
And then those parents come to you like,
Oh, yeah, they're
how do
asking
I-
where you train at.
I want guidance on how to get my kid there. It's so much more than just real estate.
is,
It's like, how do you succeed in life? And I'm not saying I'm a perfect person. No, nobody is. And like, you could always be better, but it's like when you bring a collective of humans
a
in the
lot of
same room
resources.
that want others to do good and succeed, and you are willing to lend that helping hand and have the knowledge and every license under the sun to back you,
Man,
you can't lose. You can't
there,
lose.
bro.
Yeah.
no, that's what I love about you, Blaine. Like, I mean, you know, being an entrepreneur, starting a business, you know, it's talent, right? In the very beginning, you get what you can.
Right.
Hey, I have this great idea. We're gonna sell lemonade.
Yeah.
I just came up with it. Come join my team.
Right.
And that one person goes, okay,
Yeah.
I'll come do it with you.
Yeah.
And as you grow in business and as you grow as a brand, the talent starts walking through the door, and it just feels great, right? Working with a talent like yourself, you're competitive, you're focused, bro. You're fucking probably rookie of the year, Northern California, if not California, right? In real estate, I mean, it's just who you are, and that's what you bring every day. And not every, a lot of people can't handle that intensity. It's tough. But you bring it every day, bro. You wake us all up. You remind us what we need to do to push forward. And that's what's just so special about you.
I appreciate that.
What is it? The XXL freshman cipher?
Yeah.
Definitely.
I want the Drake route where I just said, I don't want to be on that. Give me my own cover.
Yeah, you need your own cover, bro. I mean, I would say, for a lot of us, like, I'm super appreciative. Like, I know our story can kind of get long-winded, and it's cool for hopefully everyone to watch this episode to, like, really understand who we are, right? And I think it's good for us to collectively talk about that. I'm super excited about 2023. I know the four of us plus Chris, we're all excited to see what 2023 brings, because I think there's a lot of things that we've built in the last 6 to 8 months that have been it's been hard, but there's a lot of promise. And if our team doesn't even grow too much, right, there's a lot of excitement that I feel with what we're bringing. And 2023 has a lot of unknowns, especially with the market the way it is. And, a lot of people are entering the space, but also exiting the space. And, I'm excited to build it with the team that we have. I'm excited to have our brand start to actually be more recognized, because I know that's a big focus for you, especially for you, is like, this podcast has been a great addition to our brand recognition, and I'm excited to see how this grows. I'm excited to see how, obviously all lines of our business actually kind of take way more shape. But yeah, I mean, I think for the last 2 years, man, it's been a good building, I would say, time. Like, it's been a good time, but at least for my life. I've been challenged a lot, and we're always talking about how entrepreneurism is a challenge, and we're always talking about, like, our fails. We talked a lot about, like, our pre-time as Rise Group, more so like our failures and stuff. But this last 2 years, people can say, like, hey, your revenue might be down or your margin might be down or whatever, but I don't think we're down. I definitely don't feel that.
We've grown this year as a team.
100%.
Front half, back half, we've grown.
Yeah. Operationally, technology. So super pumped, dude.
Yeah, a year, it flies by, but it also is a long time.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't even know how that makes sense, but it is. And, like, a lot has happened this year, a lot of like learning. And I'm very excited for 2023, because I know that the things that we put into place are going to be there already for 2023.
Yeah.
It's huge. Like, I mean, we discuss it all the time. I mean, in our morning sessions, like, the first year is that honeymoon phase, right?
Yeah.
Year 2 is that trust. We're going on year 3 collectively, and a lot of great things. I mean, Tom Ferry coaching, huge for our real estate team and lending team.
Tom Ferry coaching, all, Zillow Flex, plus the other
All the lead sources.
all the other
all that
lead
stuff.
sources that we have, the tech stack, it's all ready. And, yeah, we're a newer brand, but we're not new to real estate. And we have a lot of bright minds. And if you want to make some money in 2023, like,
It's gonna be fun, dude.
we have a platform,
platform
that will allow you to do that. And I think sometimes real estate agents get caught up in trying to maximize the earnings on each deal because they're in it for the money. The ones that really get it are the ones that understand that they're building a long-term career in business. Reps, meeting more people, doing more transactions with people that lead to other transactions. doing your follow-up, stuff like that. And so when you have the tech and the lead generation and the more opportunities and just the process behind it, you'll succeed. So 2023 is going to be dope. Yeah.
We got a cool turkey T-shirt, dude.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about it. Probably a Christmas one dropping too. So
Right.
Brandon, get on it, please. We good?
I think that's more than good.
More than good.
Yeah.
Together we rise.
We're out.
We out.